Japan in the late 1980s. There is a lot of problem going on in that time. During the time, they have a change in different way. For example, the population growth rate, the economies, internal immigration, and lastly, the environment issue. All of this is effect to the Japanese people on that time. In 1980s, in Japan, the population in Japan is different from now, which the population or the birth rate in Japan continued to drop during the 1980s, dropping from about 14 births per thousand to about 10 births per thousand. The evidence is gaining to the labor forcing and storage of the younger worker in that time. In the late 1980s, the potential impact on employment practice, wages, and benefit, and the role of women in the labor force them to working at the same amount of the guys working in that time. What is internal immigration? So, immigration or internal immigration is a relatively fermented movement of individual or a group of people very distant to the different place of residence that they live or where they're born. During that time, all the economies affect to about 6 million to 7 million people moving their residence to each year. During the 1980s, about 50% of their moves were within the same prefecture. The another were relocated from one prefecture to another. During Japan economy's development, and especially during 1950 to 1960, the immigration ruled some people to increasing number of moving to larger area in research for a better job and better education for the future. So, in the 1980s, government provide a political supporting a new younger people to development a way for them by having in the larger city like Tokyo to attach younger people to live and work there. Younger people continue to move to larger city to find work and job and education, but however to attending university and finding work. But some they are returned back to their own city to development their original. Lastly, Japan they also want to develop their environment more. Since the early 1990s, the environmental protection has become an increasingly important area of the Japanese nation and international policy and program. In the 1960s, Japan has argued all among the most polluted country in the world as a result of the pollution control. In contrast today, Japan is providing a technologically and scientifically experiment for the polluted control of development country. In the 1980s, Japan was being a city for the lack of attending to the global environmental degradation and especially the role of Japanese company and government of a program playing and contribute to tropical deforestation. In the 1990s, response to the Japanese government began to take a step to improve the international environment image. As the Japanese became increasingly more better and over the courses of 1970s and 1980s, it became one of the largest customers in the world of fish, hardwood, oil, many of mineral. Japanese transformation into society mean the demand for the resources was high. Within the limited natural resources, Japanese industry has looked aboard for the industry input afterward.